Welcome to Sure Thing. We're Lakey Peterson
and Kaylee Gilchrist, two athletes who love exploring the world and sharing our stories.
We'll be taking you through the good times, the tough times, and everything in between.
Basically, it's about chasing dreams, staying inspired, and having fun along the way.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Welcome back, everybody, to Sure Thing with Kaylee Gilchrist and myself, Lakey Peterson. We're going to dive into a fun episode today with me and Kaylee, just talking about injuries and kind of overcoming them. Obviously, being athletes, we both had plenty, but we also realize non-athletes struggle with aches and pains and injuries and just the mental side of it and everything that sort of comes along with it, what we've learned, what's worked best, and everything in between. So come along for another episode of Sure Thing and cue the chaos.
We realize we haven't cued the chaos for each other yet. So, Lakey, what is your coffee order?
Coffee order is on my beloved Breville, double shot, cappuccino, whole A2 milk, and a little bit of honey.
Wow, yum. A song that gets you amped before a big moment.
Lose Yourself by Eminem.
Go to, always.
Always.
One training hack you swear by.
I would say consistency, yeah.
What's your go-to guilty pleasure?
Pizza.
What's one habit, mindset, quote that's changed your life the most?
I've always loved the quote that says, be the change you want to see in the world. I just think it's a great thing to remember, that you can always be the change that you do want to see. So
yeah,
that's the one. That's me. All right. Kaylee Gilchrist, cue the chaos edition. What's your coffee order?
Vanilla latte, whole milk, usually from Alta Coffee down the street.
Oh, shout out Alta Coffee. You want to sponsor the pod? What's a song that gets you amped before a big moment?
I knew this question was coming, and I literally just blacked out.
Oh no!
Well, Odell is my go-to. Okay. I actually don't really listen to music in big moments. Even when walking into the Olympic Games, I wouldn't have music.
Oh, you're a silent person.
Yeah, I would go through waves, and I think that was where I ended in my athletic career. I used to listen to the Lose Yourself and get all hyped and had the playlist and stuff, make it myself, and then I just kind of was don't get too high, don't get too low. So Adele's a go-to just every day. Silence. We created my little daughter's playlist, my hopefully birthing playlist. So that's a lot that we've been listening to in the house.
Cute.
Wild World by Cat Stevens is on there.
Okay, you're on a way different playlist.
I know. I'm gosh, I'm pretty boring.
What was your Spotify listening age?
It wasn't that bad.
192.
But I was the 0.1% highest listener to Adele. And I was oh my, that's what I listened to on the planes.
I respect it. I respect it.
So I'm sorry, I wasn't prepped for that.
That was good. All right. What's one training hack you swear by?
I want to steal consistency, but I think for me, just getting up in the morning and doing it, I love just as simple as a beach walk, or right now in my stage of life, just beach walk with some sun in your eyes and your feet in the sand.
Yeah, can't beat it. It's true. What is your go-to guilty pleasure?
Anything sweets. I was telling Lakey before, I just made homemade cinnamon rolls.
These look good.
Any pastries, any chocolate, any ice cream, and it's bad.
Well, now you're pregnant. This has got to be so hyped.
It's gotten even worse.
And you have an excuse. You're whatever, it's a craving. What is one habit, mindset, quote that changed your life the most?
I think I might have shared this, but my mom shared it to us when we were younger. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best.
Drop the mic on that one. All right, let's talk about our injuries. We're going to not get too far down the road specifically of what both of you, me and yourself, have been through injury-wise. We've obviously had different injuries, which I think is really cool. You probably a few more than me
unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm trying to stay good. But I guess I'll start with just kicking it off, asking you what, you had a really bad injury in Korea, which we've talked about and we'll talk more about. But rather than the injury, when you got home from that, your mentality around that injury, all injuries you've had in general, how do you approach it? And obviously just go through it. Cause I think mentally injuries are almost harder than physically, personally.
Right. I've been so fortunate in my career. South Korea happened and I think I was 27 years old and I had never had injuries, never sat out of a practice, never nothing. And then South Korea happened, and it was this eye-opening experience for so many levels. Obviously, like what actually happened that evening and just the chaos around it and stuff. But the injury was life-threatening for a little bit. And then, so I think there's just so much more about that individual injury that changed my mindset. But even afterwards, you know, I did 3 surgeries after. So I've had a total of 4 surgeries with some back hiccups as well. And I think, you know, I'm a pro now. Now I know. But when you go through an injury for the first time, it is so scary. And you don't know how you're going to come out the other side, when in reality, all you need is time, good support, and a solid plan. And you'll probably be, you know, maybe even better than you were before, because I think it forces you to take time to slow down, gives you some perspective. You can set your goals. You can work with new people. You can get creative. And I think that's something that I totally embraced in my South Korea with our trainers and our team behind the team. Yeah. And I think it set me up for success in that, you know, in the Tokyo Olympics. But I also have learned, like, a lot of people just don't really know. You have to be an advocate for yourself, and you have to, you know, trial and error too. Like, what may have worked for one injury or what may have worked for one person might not work for you.
That is so true.
And that's something that I really leaned into, and I'm sure we'll dive into all the injuries, but especially after my 2 surgeries I had leading into the Paris Games. So I think it's just like, also as you develop as a person, as a human. I was 27, I'd never been injured. I didn't know. Let me just blindly follow what people are telling me.
Yeah.
To, okay, I'm a 31-year-old, like, more mature, have gone through this once or twice, start questioning things, asking why a little bit more. We had Scotty on the pod not too long ago, and, you know, he was kind of chirping in my ear like, oh, well, why are you doing that? And I think it's really important to ask those questions and to understand why you are rehabbing the way you're rehabbing, or why are you using that modality or that recovery, and just understanding a little bit more, because I think it gives you some empowerment moving forward.
Yeah, great. I agree with everything you just said. And it's hard because, I don't know, you get hurt and there's so many opinions too. And I don't even think this is just like a pro athlete thing. I think if anyone gets like an actual injury, no matter who you are, you go to the doctor and they tell you one thing, and then the surgeon tells you another thing, and then the physio tells you another thing. It's like everyone has the right answer. And so it can get so overwhelming of like, what do I actually need to do here? And I think a big thing for me was narrowing it down to like, who do I really trust? Yeah. Who is my point person on this? Okay, that's my point person. I'm going to go based off of what they say. I trust them. And this, again, that goes back to what you said of like, what works for you? Like, that's what's working for me. And it could be a couple different things, but you really need like that 1 or 2 people to help guide you through that injury and like just the direction to go. Because now it's like, oh, you get stem cells, that fixes you. Oh, PRP, whatever. It's like there's 1,000 things.
And Instagram, everyone's a pro, everyone's a genius. It's overwhelming.
Hyperbaric chamber, like whatever. It's all the cure to whatever. So I think that's been my biggest thing with my injuries is just, okay, what do I want? What's my why? Yes. How do I have this nice, simple way to like work through this? And I think too, so much of injuries, again, are just completely mental. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about coming back from South Korea and the Kobe thing, because I feel like he was like so inspiring for you. Totally. And I just also think it's really cool for our viewers to hear, like, you were freaking texting Kobe Bryant.
So crazy.
Like, it is just cool. So, I mean, beyond the injury, I just think this is a fun story to share.
I mean, so let me preface it. My first dream and first sport was basketball. Like, I fell in love with basketball, and I grew up in the era of like the 2000s Lakers, the Shaq, the Kobe's, the Robert Horrys. Like,
heck yes.
Went to games, watched it all.
Oh, the best.
The best. And then when I realized, you know, I actually played basketball all the way to 8th grade, but knew going into high school I'd have to choose. Mm-hmm. And I was just a better water polo and surfer. And, you know, I had to say goodbye to basketball. Mm-hmm. But I still was a diehard Lakers fan, diehard Kobe's fan, as anybody was who grew up in SoCal during that era. And then I started really, like, especially in high school, really leaned into like YouTube and just the sports, the psyche of athletes. Mm-hmm. Obviously Kobe, and that's kind of when he came out with his Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
So I read so many books, so many sports books, self-help books. I mean, my like library is hilarious. It's all self-help or autobiographies.
Same. It's so heavy. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and that's like when I really like quotes, really fired up on quotes, just learning about the mental aspect. And I think, you know, you look back on your career, and I've said this and I'll probably repeat myself, but like I was never the best athlete, but I just had this mentality that I think got me to where I've been. And that starts with those like YouTubes or those TV shows that Kobe was on.
Yeah.
So I've been fortunate to meet him twice before my accident.
Was one of them with me?
Yes.
At the academy?
Yes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
first time was at the Balboa Bay Club resort in Newport. And this is actually a pretty good story, that I was training. It was off season. I think it was like January of 2017. And this is when I think I was going full surfing. And I was on the treadmill, and you're running on the treadmill, and it's a second floor. Like you can only get down to the gym like one way. So upstairs is the actual basketball gym and the regular workout gym, and down you have to come up those stairs.
Yeah.
So I'm running on the treadmill, and you can see like there's a mirror, so you can see who comes in and out of the gym, like walking past the basketball. And I'm just like running. I'm like, dude. And of course, I'm a diehard Kobe. And like, I saw his swagger. I saw how he walked. He had a hood on, and then all these little girls were like running into them with him. And this was after he retired. He was coaching his daughter and their team at the time.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, no way. Yeah. So I like get off, you know, sneak over to the gym,
try to not be
peep
weird.
in there, and it says like closed to private practice. And I remember snapping a photo, and it was like him doing a drill, like dribbling past a cone.
Wow.
And it said what time practice time ended. It was like 11:30.
Okay.
And I was like, whatever, it's 10:45. I was like, okay, I can go get my swim in, and I can like prepare what I'm going to ask my hero.
Yes.
So I'm swimming, and I'm like tripping out, like, okay, how do I do this? And I have never really been like starstruck. I've met some amazing people, totally respect them, like shake hands, don't really care like if I get a photo with them or not.
Yeah.
This is one person that I was like tripping on seeing. So, and then
I would have
45 minutes in my head swimming, being like, what am I going to say to this guy?
Yeah.
So I shower, I make sure I get there a little early, and I'm sitting on the couch of the stairs. He has to come down. And I'm like,
stalker mode,
total stalker mode, shaking, like kind of sweating. Like, and he walks down, and you just hear his voice walking down the stairwell, and it's just like so predominant. And I go up, and I'm like, God, I got to say it. This is going to be so kooky, but like, hey, Mr. Bryant, my name's Kaylee Gilchrist. I wore number 10 like you at the Olympics. I played water polo.
No way.
And he just goes, he stops. He's like, no way, dude. We watched you guys win gold.
Seriously.
This was like maybe 6 months after.
I just got the chills.
He's like, gee, you gotta come meet Kaylee. And then so we shook hands. I was like, hey, sorry, can I ask for a photo? He's like, yeah, of course. Get a photo with Kobe. Like he was at the point was doing some podcast stuff. So I told him I was listening. He's like, oh, you like that? Sick.
Yeah.
All right, best of luck. And it was like, you know, his life was probably never even changed. It's just a regular interaction. Yeah. Mine forever changed. Like that moment was the coolest thing. Like he knew who we were.
That is,
you know,
like watched your game.
Yes. And of course, like I go on social, post it on Twitter, post it on Insta, and he follows me back.
That is actually insane.
Like, freaking out. Like, dude, I called my coach.
What
like,
a
obviously
legend.
called my dad, my whole family. I was like, Kobe's mine. This is so cool. And that was like, you know, the first time. And down the road, I was like, maybe want to invite him to a polo game or something like that. You fast forward to 2018, I was on the board of USA Surfing, and we had something at the Mamba Academy.
Yes, in Calabasas.
Yeah. And then Kobe came in.
Yeah.
And we all got to meet him. Like Lakey was there. Just everyone that was kind of in the bubble to make it to the first Olympic Games. It was actually really cool what they did.
It was insane.
You guys did testing. I chatted about my Olympic experience.
Yeah.
Just with my connection to surfing, and obviously the Rio Olympics. A bunch of people talked and came in and shared stuff.
It was really cool.
It was really cool. It was like made it legit.
It was legit. And to just for 2 seconds, but I remember I was standing in the room. We were all waiting for Kobe to come in, and we were like mingling and like whatever. And this was actually the first time. They say like sometimes people who, I don't know, just the greats, like they have a presence almost.
Totally.
And I was not even facing the door. I was turning around talking to somebody else, and I was just like, oh, vibe change. Like someone just walked in, and obviously it was Kobe, but like the presence, I swear it was the only time in my life I was like, I could feel someone's like
energy.
Yes, properly. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
And then that was like maybe a year after, maybe even longer than a year after my first interaction with him. So I go up, and I'm like, oh, he's not going to remember me. So I go up, hey, Mr. Bryant, my name's Kaylee. He goes, dude, yo, what's up? I'm like, I know who you are. Come in here. And he like gave me a big ol' hug.
Wow.
And then I remember, you probably won't remember this, but I was sitting down, like they had everyone, Kobe was talking to all the surfers. And there was a moment when he's like, all right, everyone out but the athletes. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to be respectful because like I wasn't there as a surfer trying to go to the Olympics. Like I was just there as a resource to talk about the Olympic experience. So like I pull my chair out like this to stand up, and he goes, whoa, you sit back down. You want a freaking gold medal for this country. You're staying. You're an athlete.
Legend.
In front of all you guys.
Yeah,
so like, obviously, like, that probably didn't cross your mind, but for me, I was like, Kobe just said that? Like, what? That's the sickest thing ever.
That is insane.
And I remember brother got like signed.
I wish I would have done that.
I was like, dude, how to this
So
day
stupid.
he got signed. He brought jersey and got him signed because we knew we were gonna meet Kobe.
Yeah,
and I
wish I
like,
would've
to
done
this
that.
day, I was like, I'm such an idiot.
Me too.
Like,
Me too.
But it doesn't matter. That stuff is all, it's just, the memories are what matter.
For sure.
All right, so now we're gonna fast forward even more. 2019, so another year and a half after.
Yeah, take us to this situation.
Yeah,
South
so
Korea.
July 27th, South Korea, balcony collapses, rush to the hospital. I already shared all that. We are finally cleared to go home. So we try to get out as early as we can. We're in this, like, it's the craziest taxi drive. We're in a van, but it was the craziest van. Like, I was like, dude, I just survived a balcony collapse. I'm going to die in this car ride. It was like, we still talk about it this
Just
day.
get me home.
Yeah, it was wild. It was with my trainer and our doctor. So I was telling my trainer, she obviously knows all this about Kobe. And I was like, I think I'm going to reach out to Kobe and just pick his brain. Like, he's gone through so many injuries. This is gnarly.
Yeah.
She's like, you totally should.
Yeah.
And I write him on, I think it was like Instagram. And I was like, hey, Kobe, like, I don't know if you remember. It gave him the whole backstory. Like, hey, this just happened. I just wanted to pick your brain. And he immediately responds back, yo, I was just about to hit you up. I saw you on the news everywhere. Like, how are you doing?
Oh my god.
And I was like, trying to be respectful. I was like, well, how do you really, like, how long do you want this message to be? I could see, like,
what response do you want here?
So I was like trying to be mindful. I was like physical, like, hurt 3 legs, almost ruptured a muscle, like blah, 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 blah. Mental, like rattled, scared, all this stuff. He's like, okay, well, glad you're coming home. I'll check in on you tomorrow. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Kobe's not going to check in.
No way.
Like,
absolutely
like,
not.
Sick. Like, if this is the only thing I get, I'm still like motivated to take over the world.
Totally.
Landed, message from him. Hey, checking in. How are you doing?
That is crazy.
And then so we just responded back and forth, and like I wanted to be really respectful, so I would have certain questions I would ask. He gave me some of his contacts at Cairo, who I still see dusting glass today.
Wow.
A lawyer when I was going to do a lawsuit on them. Like he gave me some of his contacts, and I would pick their brains. He'd check in. Little questions that would pop up, and I was like, okay, let me be mindful. Like, I'm going to eventually invite him to talk to the team, maybe, or have him come to a game. Like, this is gonna be really cool. Kobe's gonna be a fan of our team. Like, I could tell.
Yeah.
And this is when he was really diving into girls' sports. Obviously, his daughter was a rock star basketball player. His older daughter played volleyball. Like, so I was like, this is really cool. I'm gonna wait for my time to really like maybe this mentorship grows. And then, sure enough, July or January rolls around. So it was not even 6 months after the accident, maybe 6 months to the day, Kobe passes away. And I just remember like so rattled mentality wise, because it was a really weird time for me because like I'm not friends with Kobe. Like I'm not a family with him, but yet he had such a predominant impact in my life and my career.
Yeah.
And especially during this time when I'm like conversing with him once a week. And he gave me so much motivation, so much joy, so much like why of what I was doing, getting up at the 6 a.m., going home at 6 p.m., just like grinding to try to make that Olympic team. And when he passed, all these stories would come out from other athletes, or not even athletes, musicians, authors, like
really?
Yes.
Same thing.
How he would help him out. Yeah. Here or there, text him, give him a contact. I was like, dude, does this guy not sleep?
Yeah.
Like, did he
probably
not sleep?
not? He's Superman.
Yeah. So it was crazy. And then I skipped a part. Larnie, who is our trainer, knew I was obsessed with Kobe. She was in that car ride going to the airport in South Korea when he messaged me back. And she sent a Google Drive with like, I mean, I should show you. You'll love it. But it's like has everything from that rehab. Like,
wow.
Hundreds of pages.
Wow.
To the T, like scheduling, and it called it the Mamba Mission.
Yes.
So the Mamba Mission, like that's where we'd be like, we got to get up early, Mamba Mission, every day counts, like every day is a big day. Like it just became a part of like our story. And then when he passed, it just grew even more. And the Mamba Mission, rather than just like, okay, rehab from this injury to win a gold medal, it became a like, no, a way of life, like forever wanting to be your best, the Mamba mentality, what that looks like. And it's something even to this day, I'll think about, like, I want to live with that Mamba mission mentality.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
wow, that is so, I mean, it obviously speaks to like why he was such a champion and like, that's just how they do things and operate. But that's so cool. You have literal text and like just motivation from him. And I also think, to your point of like this huge document with like to the hour of how you rehabbed and what you did to get better, and named it Mamba Mission or Mamba Mission. Sorry, there's a lot of Mambas. Yeah. I have Mamba mentality. Mamba Mission. I feel like that's actually a really good, almost like just a tip for people to do when they're trying to rehab something. Like give it a name, and then I don't know. It gives you like something just like that's our mission or that's our why or that's whatever, you know?
And I mean, fast forward to, I got two surgeries 6 weeks apart, a year and a half before the Paris Games. Yeah. And I think there were like aftershocks. We can dive into that from falling off the balcony, but we named it Mount Everest because Kobe, if you read his book, he talks about his Achilles injury when he I think he was like 34 when he hit his Achilles, and obviously the end of his career, but he wasn't ready to retire.
Yeah.
So he called that recovery his Mount Everest because it was the hardest and the highest to do. And every time you felt like you were getting closer, you'd look up and the peak was still that much higher.
Yeah.
So we even just played off of that.
That's cool.
And we're like, hey, this is my Mount Everest. Like, what 31-year-old athlete is going through 2 surgeries, 6 weeks apart right before the Olympics?
Yeah. I mean, that's insane.
So, but it is fun. It's like the ways to be creative with your injuries. If you're going through an injury or even going through a tough time, like being able to name it something and like have, a mission.
Absolutely. It's like something tangible almost that you can be like, hey, no, that's my why. That's my direction. Give it a name, like, and go with it and write it down. Like and obviously the Mamba, like you had that's like the best name ever. And you had full good reason to call it that. And that's incredible. And then fast forward, we'll get into some of my injuries in a second, but then like you said, so you get through the Mamba mission, crushed it. All things considered, like
so stoked.
Incredible that you got back to that point. Then right before Paris, or a year and a half before Paris, but that's kind of in athlete world. If you're a year and a half out from the Olympics, I mean, you're pretty close at that point. Then you go hip surgery and shoulder surgery.
Yeah. So it was really interesting. And this is something that, talking about when we talked earlier about being an advocate for yourself, like if I could go back and do some things different in the Mamba mission, there aren't a lot. Like I was very proud how we showed up. But because we were, so focused on the actual leg injury, I never got like a full diagnosis. Like we never checked everything else out.
Yeah.
And not to say that I was like more injured than not, but like I have rib issues. I went to just to the doctors to do a shoulder x-ray, and he noticed something in my head that correlates with a head injury. And I'm like, yeah, I probably did get a concussion. I fell off a freaking balcony.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
And not to make these excuses, but it's just a reminder like, oh, we never did that. Like I wish somebody said like, hey, once you're home, let's like run you through a full MRI or let's run your blood. Like what happened if I was bleeding in some of my, like my kidney, you don't know. Like,
yeah.
And I wish we did that because I truly believe, obviously I got a shoulder labrum surgery, hip labrum surgery, pretty intense. My hip was pretty intense. My shoulder wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
But, yes, I play sports. Yes, I play water polo and surfing for 20 straight years. Like the overuse of those, I'm sure they would have found something even if I didn't fall off a balcony.
Yes.
But they only started hurting after the balcony collapse. So I do think I view them as like aftershocks. Like the earthquake was the original, and these are the aftershocks that we never properly took care of because we were so focused on other things. And obviously remember like compensations happen with injuries and all that.
That's a huge one, is I feel like for athletes, for everyone, but like one thing starts hurting, so then you cater to that. If your knee's a little funky, and then you start leaning into like your left knee hurts, so you lean into your right hip, and then all of a sudden your left back hurts. So it is really all connected. And I feel like that's one thing I've learned through injuries. It's like just showing up each day and doing what you can do, like with whatever cards you're dealt.
Yes.
So if you've just had 2 surgeries and you can barely move, but you could do visualization.
Oh yeah.
And you could do Normatex, then great. That's what you could do that day. Or like, you know what I mean? Like whatever stage you're at. For me, that was huge with my back injury. At one stage, I couldn't even, Tom had to put shoes on me. I could not bend over.
Back.
It was like,
we have to dive into backs.
So gnarly. It was so gnarly. And I was like, I honestly I mean, I'm kind of going crazy because one, I'm an athlete and all I do is move around and do stuff. And I'm like pretty ADD and like, you know, and all of a sudden you just stop. And I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, finally I got a little better and I could walk, but not far, but I could go on like whatever, a 20-minute walk, like simple. But I was like, I'm going on my 20-minute walk first thing when I wake up.
And that's like your big excitement of the day.
Yes.
Like every day is a big day. Like putting your shoes on by yourself is a big day.
Absolutely.
Going on a walk. And I think if you like look at those little things, they end up becoming bigger and bigger things too. And before you know it, you're like paddling out on a surfboard for your first session back.
Totally. It's like, it's just focusing on those things that you can do with whatever space you're in.
Yeah.
Then I just feel like that's a huge thing with, at least for me, that I've learned through my injuries, but for anyone going through anything of that capacity, it's just focus on those things and do those things well. And then slowly, like you said, all of a sudden you'd be like, whoa, I'm paddling out.
Yeah, like,
3 months ago, all I could do is do a 20-minute walk down the beach or, you know, whatever. So that's a huge thing I've learned from my injuries. And also too, I think we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but I want to talk about it more, of just having perspective the whole way through. And I don't know, I'm sure, you know, you could kick us off, but there's so many times in injuries where you just kind of feel like, am I ever going to get better?
Right.
Is this ever going to go? Is this working? Like, I just did 6 weeks straight and I don't even know if this is working, you know, or whatever, like what I'm doing. Questioning.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I don't know. Do you feel like it's critical to have that perspective?
Yes, of course, especially your first one. Like, I think that's probably when it happened the most. When I overcame that, I was like, I can overcome anything.
Yeah.
Not that it didn't pop up. Like, especially when you have like a goal, like you want to win world titles, you want to win contests. You might only get an injury wild card for 1 year. Like you had a time frame. I had a time frame. I'm competing against 15 other women to make 13 spots.
Yeah.
And the Olympics aren't changing. I mean, obviously COVID was rogue, but the Olympics aren't changing. Like this is the date. So I think when you look at that, you can give yourself so much pressure that you don't need in that moment. So I think it's really important to have the support system, but also important to like give yourself the days when you feel like shit and you want to be poor me, as long as they're far and few between.
Yeah.
If you're tired and it's a Sunday and you don't want to go lift or do whatever and swim while all your other teammates are taking the Sunday off, like that's okay. If you want to eat a gallon of ice cream, that's fine, as long as you are doing the consistent stuff almost day in and day out and are on the grind. But it's always okay to take a break here and there. And I think that helped me. Like there was days when I would just sit and I would just like cry, like let myself feel and like feel the fear, feel the anger, feel everything and just cry. And it was almost like a reset for the week ahead.
Yeah, that is such a good point you just made. I think we live in a world that is constantly, you got to do more, you got to be better. And then for us, like as professional athletes, you already have that on yourself. Like, what are they doing? I got to do more. You know, like
I'm getting behind.
Yes. And then you have the world that's just, you can't even take a day off now without getting back to someone on email. Otherwise, you know, the opportunity's gone. So I just think that's the world that we live in. And I don't think that's a healthy thing. And I think most people know, I mean, I know when I'm being lazy.
Right.
And then when it's like, no, I deserve this rest. You know in your heart, like, no, I need this rest. I need this. And that is so important to take, like just as important as training actually. Totally. But then, I just am lazy to, like, you really do know in your heart. So it's just, like you said, it's just checking yourself and being honest with yourself. Yeah. In that.
I think I feel like we have to go back on our text, but I'm pretty sure it was your back injury. And I think you were pretty devastated. What year was this?
2021.
Yeah, 2021. And I just went through what I went through and I shared a quote with you.
Yeah.
And we'll have to pull it up and share it with you guys, but it was about perspective and just like slowing down and enjoying and just having some perspective, which is probably the last thing Lakey wanted to hear when she had a back and it's like, shut up, Kaylee. Like, and like, here I am, like I went through it and I made it out the other side. I was like, dude, just enjoy. Just
did the mama mission.
But it is true. And it's a great quote. Or it's a great like page out of a book or something like that, but we'll share it. And it's true. Like just having that perspective and slowing down, especially when it just happened. Like it's so hard to be able to do that when it just happens.
Yeah, completely. It's for anyone, you just your body doesn't feel good all of a sudden and it puts everything into perspective. I don't care who you are or what you do. It's like we're used to operating at a certain way. And then especially when it's your job, it is like, oh my gosh, okay, am I ever going to get back to where I was?
Yeah.
Can I do this? Also, this is my job. So there's a paycheck with this. All like, you know, there's a lot of things where you're like, geez, I actually have to figure this out. But the beautiful and crazy and kind of hardest thing about injuries is that there's no, I mean, you can do it as fast as only your body allows you to do it, healing wise. You know, you can do everything right, and that's going to make it you heal faster and better and, you know, more efficiently. But there's only so quick that your bone's going to heal, or your ligament's going to reattach, or the whatever it is. And I think that's really hard in life to just be like, okay, I'm doing everything I can, but I'm also just at the mercy of this healing time, and I just have to accept that and be in it and sit in it.
I would be interested, like, I've thought about this a lot. In the water polo world, it's a tiny little sport. And I was trying to figure out numbers, but it's been a part of the Olympics for, 25 years. And it was women's water polo. And I think, maybe 50 athletes, because there's a lot of people that go to multiple Olympics, like maybe 50 women Olympian water polo players in the US, like not a lot.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's only been 7 of those that have returned to sport after surgery.
Wow.
And out of 6 or 7, no one's had, maybe there's been 1 or 2 that have had the same injury. Wow. So what I really struggled with, that like there was no return to sport protocol. Like we kind of made it up, which made it fun. But at the same time, I just realized I looked around a couple times and be like, dude, no one knows anything. Yeah. Like there's no science behind, there's not a lot of science behind, like there's, it's a sport that just hasn't been researched.
Yeah.
So I really struggled with that. And I was wondering, like, I mean, you're very similar with what you had in your back. Like you're probably the only person in this world, if you think about it, which is so crazy, that has had the crazy back disc bulge that you had. And bad. Like I've never heard that big.
Bad. Yeah.
Return to sport, return to the world tour. Like you have to be one of the only surfers that return to the sport.
Yeah. I never really thought about it like that.
And you kind of paved your own path of how you do it. What is your protocol?
True. That's true. I mean, I guess in a way, I mean, there's a lot of people with back issues. A lot of surfers tend to have back issues out there for sure, but everyone is different, and no injury is exactly the same.
Well, no one's also like getting back on tour.
And also,
there's a handful of
I think climbing back to like your absolute peak performance, best in the world, is it's a big mountain to climb, and everyone is still progressing, especially in women's surfing. I mean, I got injured really bad in 2021, and I feel like that was really around a time when the progression was having a really big uptick. Yes. And so it was a little bit different than, say, I got injured on my first couple of years in tour. First of all, I was really young. I got the whole career ahead of me, if I had, and secondly, I felt like the women's tour was kind of where it was at for a little while at that point. So I felt like, geez, everyone is just progressing at a crazy rate where you need to be, going to Tahiti and surfing there and just pushing it more. Yeah. And I had just kind of come off my best couple of years ever competing.
Talk about a mental trip.
Yeah. And then so coming back, and it's like, whoa, like you're not winning all of a sudden. And you got to really refine your feet even after the injury and coming back. And then there's this big fear. I don't know if you had this, but even still to this day in 2025, I like think about when there's a big closeout section, I'm like, ooh, my back, is it gonna hack it? Like, can I hit that hard?
Right.
And I'm healed, I'm good. Like I feel great, but it is a little mental, like
mind-body connection.
Super scary. I don't want to get injured again. I don't want to go back to that again. That was so hard. It was such a big mountain to climb. So I guess just going back to your question or what you were saying though, of just doing it my way and figuring out what my path is. Sure. Other people have had back injuries in the past, but maybe no one, I don't know any girls that had what I had ever and come back to tour. So I've never really thought about that, but
it's also like, pat yourself on the back.
Yeah,
thanks.
Like,
when you think about it,
I know. It's actually true. Thanks, Kaylee. Yeah, we deserve to pat ourselves on the back for sure. It was quite the journey, and it still is. I mean, I feel like injuries, there's the real acute stage and the real healing stage. Yeah. But then they're always a work in progress. I don't know if you think that with your stuff too.
I thought not that surgery is, fix it. And I always knew that it was going to be, part of, my process of rehab and mobility and training and strengthening. Like I know those would be the hips and the shoulders I'd have to focus on more, but in the beginning, I thought, okay, I'm just going to go fix it. I'm just going to go get surgery. And what people don't realize, it's like, it's harder to do that. And it's harder. Like, I wish I never had an injury. I wish I could have made all my practices. Like, it really hindered, I think, my leadership ability, my final quad because of the injuries I had.
Yeah.
And also, like, I just don't think teammates or anyone knows what you're actually doing and how hard it is. And not that they need to, but I think there's like a respect level. Obviously, you do individual, so you're behind the scenes a lot.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you, like, come with me for a week.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I dare you.
Yeah,
like, come
it's
on.
actually
like,
true.
Like, you know, my young teammates that are like 18, like, they can have like a bag of Cheetos and go like score 10 goals
So
in the
lame.
game. I'm like, God, it must be nice.
We were all there once.
Yeah.
That is true. I mean, there's so many times I can think of where I literally was like laying on the floor in the gym, just like not being able to do something I was trying to do with my back or get to like whatever it was, little cat camels, whatever. And I'm just like, I can't do it. I've been trying to get to this, you know, next little level for so long and I just can't. And you're like crying on the gym floor. But that is the stuff I guess that's just the stuff no one sees as an athlete.
Yeah. And that's part of me, I always liked no one to see it. Like, that's how I've been a little bit always, because it's like, this is in the back pocket. Like, you know, me or you doing extra work when no one sees and it's 9 p.m. at night because you had a shitty loss and wherever you are and I had a shitty game or something. Like,
totally.
It's like, no, that's what makes us who we are. And I'm sure every athlete has a little bit of a story like that, unless you're incredibly gifted.
Yeah, it's true. Everyone does.
Yeah, but I think, you know, so I've learned to like love that a little bit. But I think backs are so challenging because I've had even little back issues, nothing compared to what you've been through, but it's not like a quick fix. Like, you can't just go get back surgery. So you have to be really patient. And tell us a little bit about that process and actually how long it took from the injury to when you were back on tour surfing again.
Yeah. So I heard it. We had gone to Australia. This was during COVID or it was during COVID. So we had to do a 2-week quarantine in a hotel room to get into Australia.
And they were weird time.
Yeah, weird time. Could not leave the room, which was crazy. And I remember actually in the hotel room, I would do like little mat workouts, and we got like a spin bike in there and whatever. And I had a couple little weights. And the second week, I was like, freak, my back is so sore. Like, every time I do a little workout, I was like, oh, this just doesn't feel good. And then I started getting really bad sciatica, like nerve pain down my leg. And I was like, that's not weird. And Tom was like, it's probably just sciatica, not a nerve thing. And I was like, okay, like thinking the best. And then we got out of quarantine and I surfed and I was like, something is so wrong. I cannot even pop up or do anything. Like, this isn't just a spasm. This is like, something's wrong. So anyways, MRI, full on.
In Australia?
Yeah, in Australia.
Did you surf in the contest?
I surfed first one, Newcastle, couldn't even do a thing. And I was like, something's wrong. So then we went down the coast to Narrabeen, and that's where I didn't even surf that event, but I did all my scans there. Yeah. Full disc extrusion. The thing was like 13 mil or something. Like,
and you just started feeling stuff then, or have you always felt a little bit of something?
No,
like
I
long
had
flights or
for my age too, looking back, knowing now, like, because it would go into spasm a lot where I was like, oh, I can't even surf for 10 days, 2 weeks, just spasms though, and then it would get better. But so I always did have like a weird back thing, and I never really paid too much attention to it. I was just young and dumb. I'm just gonna go hard, whatever. I'm just gonna lift the weight and surf whatever, and I'll just deal with it. So looking back, yes, I did have some signs, but I just never really paid too much attention to it. And then, got the injury, super bad, had to pull out the rest of the season, came home and just kind of got to work. And I remember talking to Sten Kramer, a surgeon here. Warren, his brother's also a surgeon, but Sten does more back stuff. So I went in to see him, and he was like, it's hard with back surgeries because the discectomy is like it's not that great. You don't always get the best response from it. You can do it if you need to do it, and some people need to do it, and it does really help them, and that's just the only way because they couldn't heal naturally. But he's like, they're not the best option. Where if you tear your ACL, they can do a pretty dang good surgery and it's going to be better off. Where backs, from my understanding, are kind of not always the case like that. So I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do surgery unless I absolutely have to.
I know, isn't that funny? Like, sometimes you just wish, like, oh yeah, the surgery, you got to do surgery, we'll do it, you'll be back in like a year, or 6 months or whatever. Like, you almost just want to be told what to do.
Timeline.
Leave it in your
100%. But mine was just so open-ended. So anyways, I thankfully had my Tom, and then Tim Brown, who also is a great chiro in the area, who's super helpful. and another girl here at Tara O'Brien. I kind of had all three of them helping me through the whole process. So I just had a great team, but it was certainly, I mean, it was just 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And in the beginning, it was so hard because I just couldn't, I was just in pain all day. It didn't matter if I was laying down. It didn't matter if I was standing up. It didn't, like, everything hurt.
I'm sure tried all like the natural remedies,
Everything.
arnica, everything.
Yeah.
Like
I went to drugs after. I was like, natural's not working.
like, give it to
Give me the
baby.
drugs.
Yes.
So
Muscle relaxers.
everything,
Stuff,
muscle relaxants, and I am so anti that. And then finally, the doctor was like, "Hey, you know what? I think you should get an epidural." And I'm super anti like doing all this stuff unless I absolutely have to. But he was just like, "I think it's gonna just help calm it down so you at least can sleep and walk around and not be in absolute pain all day," which you need to give your body the capability to at least just like settle.
Yeah.
So we did that. I'll never forget. That was so painful.
I've done
God,
one too.
You've done one.
Yeah.
Are you going to do? Oh no, you're going to go
I'm
natural
trying
on
to go
the
natural,
baby.
but
So
I like laugh about it because I've had like multiple epidurals because of my back and then my hip surgery. So
did you do yours on your back? Where'd
Yeah.
you do yours?
Yeah, I did
and
on
then
my back.
you like can't move, right? Because
Yes.
I was terrified he was going to hit a nerve. So
Oh,
I
it
was just like,
so gnarly. You're like face down, up, like you walk in, it's like literally like a cold table.
it's the worst.
and they numb you up enough, but if they hit
But
a
not
nerve,
really.
you feel it. Yeah.
I could feel.
and you saw the needle. Like, I don't know why I didn't want to see the needle. It was like, no joke, this big.
they
like,
didn't. Yeah.
At least when I'm like got my hip surgery, I was already all drugged up.
Yeah,
I was like, hey, okay, yeah, didn't feel anything. It was great.
Yeah, no, you could see the needle. I could feel. They didn't numb me. I could feel it, but he was like, "Don't move, because if you move or flinch, like I am 2 millimeters from your nerve." So
Yes.
I remember he was doing it, and I could feel the liquid going in, and
Like
I
the
was
pressure.
like, "Yeah," and it hurt so bad, and I was like, but I was so scared to flinch. Yeah. So, anyways, you know the feeling. But that did help me. They don't always work either.
I know.
And I was really, for anyone who does get an epidural or is thinking about it, what was drilled into me from Tom, from Sten Kramer, from everyone I worked with was, hey, this isn't curing your injury. It's just masking the pain. So do not go and think you can surf because all of a sudden it feels good next week because the epidural is going to mask that pain.
I would add just, and don't think you can do this every 6 months. Like,
Absolutely.
if you use it once or twice if you need it, like it
Yes.
helps, but the more you use it, the more it's just degenerating all of that tissue around.
Yeah, and you end up doing more damage
Yeah.
because you think you can do something that you
Yes.
can't. So that is a good tip for people, I feel like, because I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm just going to go nuke it again.
Yeah,
with
cortisone,
whatever. Yeah. And it's like, geez, I don't know, unless you really need it.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's kind of a little backstory on my back deal, and I got back to the top, and I still do. I mean, I struggle with it, but Pilates has been amazing for me. The reformer, that is like the biggest hack ever for getting my back feeling great, along with just my morning routine. Like I do 15 minutes every morning in my gym downstairs of just like stretching, rolling, mobility.
Right away, or will you like have a slow morning and drink your coffee?
I drink my coffee and read.
Yeah, good.
Give myself,
I was wondering.
yeah, and
because
then
I always think in my head, I'm like, this first thing I'm gonna do. You're supposed to like not have coffee right away. I was like, there's some stuff you got to just like enjoy.
Yeah, but I do it after I read it and before I go do like my surf or my activity. I make sure I just nail it, which helps, and it's easy and it's quick, and I feel like that's achievable for a lot of people. Like just do 10 minutes in the morning.
Yeah,
you know,
start small.
Totally consistency.
And like YouTube is great of sorts. It's overwhelming, but it's literally just like a 10-minute back warm up.
Yeah.
Boom, you'll find 1,000 of them, and you can just switch off day by day and figure out what you like or what you don't like.
Tom has like 100 back mobility warm-ups on his YouTube like thing. So yeah, you definitely, I think it's easy, it's accessible, it's doable. You don't need a gym, you don't need weights, you don't need all this fancy stuff. Should we talk about what we think have been our best rehab devices we've tried? Because we've both tried it all. And there's a lot of, let's do a myth busting.
This is so funny. I'm like, I thought I was a pretty bodily aware person and like knew my body really well. And I just went all in. I got all the gadgets. I was like, yeah, dude, this is going to make me better.
Spend
and
all
it was
our money.
like it's all my money. Like it's insane. And I was like a year into it and I was like, I don't know if this is doing anything to me.
Called a placebo.
Yeah, it was full placebo. And I actually, if this might happen to some people depending on your personality, but it became a task. And it was like, I was almost stressing my body more because I had this checklist of what I had to do. Like, obviously, you have double days for polo. Like maybe if I'm lucky, I'm surfing or whatever it might be. And you get home at 5:30, you make food. And then all of a sudden your recovery checklist ends up being like 3 hours. It's like, I should just go to sleep. That's the best recovery you can get.
It's actually so true.
So that's my hack.
It's actually so true.
It's sleep.
It's sleep. It's way better than any of this shit.
And I'll still lean into it. Like, you'll see me with my blue light blocker glasses and all this, but I don't know. No hate on all of it. There's clearly science behind a lot. But for me, I was like traveling with my Normatec around the world. And I'm like, I don't know if this, like,
that's a in the moment feel good thing. I feel
like Normatec, muscle stem, all that. Like,
did you ever try
saunas?
Saunas.
Sauna
are good.
I love.
That's actually one
that's up there on the list.
It's legit.
Sleep and sauna.
And it detoxes. Yeah. I'm all about that.
I had a cold plunge for a bit that I was just like not using enough. And I was like, okay, that's out. Like I've tried everything. I give myself a chance.
That's why I want to do this. Have you tried the thing? It's a shockwave. Have you tried shockwave?
I didn't have it, but I've gone like in PT have done some shockwave.
Yeah. That I thought maybe had some science behind it and was pretty good, but they're so expensive. You couldn't unless you're a billionaire.
And then there's like PMF.
Oh yeah. Something like that. Something
mats.
Like that. Yes. That you could buy those and lay on them.
Yeah.
I don't know about those, man.
I don't know.
They seem like crystally and I don't know. I do like I like the Hypervolt. I'll travel with that.
Yes,
that's
such
just
an
a nice,
easy,
just get in there. That's one thing I actually would invest in. I would do Hypervolt. I would do sauna. Everything else is not doing anything.
And if you can find, like, I guess maybe tools that help you sleep if you struggle with sleeping, like magnesium before, if you need like a night sleep mask, or if you like white noise, maybe something like that, make the room cold. But for me, I'm usually someone that could just sleep wherever, whenever.
We're tired.
So we're tired, knock on wood. That continues. But I'm at the point in my like crunchy stage where it's like, just give me a crystal and like put me out in some sun, and that's going to do better than any of these gadgets.
I think that's what's going to come out in 100 years. Like, oh yeah, it was just the simple things. Yeah, all along. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. If there's any tips you guys want us to try, send it in. Yeah. Leave us a comment.
We'll try.
We'll definitely try it. We've already probably tried it, but let us know.
I've done some crazy body work too, where you like scream and let it out. Like,
oh, you were telling me about this. Yes. Tell people about this a little bit, because we were talking about this at your baby shower.
The Muscle Whisperer. Like, you got to check her out on Instagram. But I got God on Instagram and I went. She's great. It's just like, you go and she just beats you up, but you have to let go. Like, you have to let your emotions go, and she knows if you're holding on to stuff. So it was a little bit of like therapy work too. And I'm like on the table, she's like getting into kind of your groin, which is a very painful spot on your body.
Oh, it's actually
and she's like, let it go, let it go. And it was like screaming, chanting whatever she was having me chant, bawling, crying. Like, it was bizarre. And for a week straight, I was black and blue. Like, she beat me up.
Properly. Do you think it worked?
If anything, I got a good cry out.
That's always helpful.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Wow. I might need to try it. It's good to just release.
It's wild. Yeah. It's up. She gets up in LA. You go to her house. It's an experience.
It sounds like a mushroom journey.
Yeah. I probably should have been on like mushrooms instead, because it was gnarly.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know if you have more you want to dive into, but I guess.
I think just for injuries, and I think it's really relatable to any adversity you're going through, but we've touched upon a couple things, but just knowing that you will get to the other side. Like, it may take time. It's going to be hard. Yeah. But eventually you'll get there. And I think if you can lean on a great support system and give yourself some grace, I think grace is something that I was never good at when I was younger. And I think I've learned in the past decade that, you'll be okay.
Absolutely. Just keep that perspective and do what you can do. All you can do is all you can do. Yeah. And it's like, pick your people to listen to and keep their perspective and enjoy the things that you can, and you'll get there. You're right. You really will at the end of the day. And then you get through it, and it makes you, it sounds cliche, but better and stronger every time.
Like, I look at mine, and I'm sure you feel similar. They're almost blessings in a way.
Absolutely.
With just what you learn, how you develop some grit, the people you get to spend time with too, like that you probably wouldn't normally have spent time with.
All right, you guys, drop us any comments if you have questions further about injuries for us. Also, give us some devices to try. We'll try them. We'll give you a review. All right, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Sure thing.